Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Welcome back for those joining us. Guys, we've just spent like 2.5 hours talking about ESO patch notes, and I was like, you know what? I need more of my life, patch notes. So I do want to talk about Dune Awakening today. These notes, these came out on the 4th, I think, 4th of July. So last Friday, I am behind. Also, I haven't been covering all of the patch notes for Dune Awakening, and I think I might start moving forward to just kind of talk about it because I think it's important for everybody. And yeah, if you guys like it, if you like this kind of content too, if you're tuning in after the fact, make sure to drop a like. If I see a lot of likes and a lot of engagement, people watching it, that's what I look at to figure out what I should do. So I will do more of that kind of content. So just let me know, give me that feedback, and I'll appreciate it. Hey, Hamura, good to see you. Good to see you. So Dune Awakening, guys, if you're new to Dune Awakening, please ask any questions you want. I absolutely love the game. I think the PVE experience easily worth a couple hundred hours, easily some of the best that I've had. The attention to detail, the rewards for exploration, the interesting gameplay, I'm just loving it. PvE, I've got mixed feelings about. I have come over. There's some real problems getting to end game and in game, and there's also some real problems with PvP. Overall, I still absolutely love it. If you're someone who doesn't want to deal with the frustration of stuff, just wait, guys. Give it some time. Let them work out the kinks, and then you can decide if you want to hop in later, right? And until then, you can, enjoy vicariously through me. Hey, Terrell, what's going on? It has been so long. It feels like minutes, literal minutes since I've talked to you, man. It's been crazy. Okay, let's jump in here. So, actually, before we talk about the latest patches, can I see the other patch notes in here? So let me explain something to you first off, and I might even should hop in the game for this. So 95% of the game is not necessarily single player, but is PVE focused, and then you get to the end game, and the end game what it have is this big map, mostly empty. It's designed to have large travel distances, which is what most PvP games are what they do. It's a logistics thing. It works well. It's fine. But what they would have is this 9x9 grid, this giant map, huge map. I say it's huge. It's pretty big. Only the first row was PVE. Everything else was PvP. And the problem is all these people were playing this game that was only PvE. And all of a sudden it's like now the end game is 90% PvP. And the real problem with end game, okay, and I don't think enough people have talked about this. I should probably do a video on it, but time. The real problem with end game is that you get there and you have to go PvP. You've had to go PvP to get caught up, to get to the highest tier, right? There's 6 tiers of gear right now, and the first 5, and each tier is a huge jump up. But what happened is that some people that had already been playing the game and didn't care about the story because they'd already done it or whatever, sprinted to the end game. And then they got there and they camped out areas. And we're like, yeah, we have better gear than you. And we've been here for a week. And we played the game for months before this. And they would just wreck everybody, right? Zergs, whatever. And it's a problem. But it's also a problem there wasn't enough content for in-game. So what Funcom did, which is the makers of Dune, is that they, instead of saying, oh, only that first row, actually half of it is going to be PvE and the other half PvP. It's a very huge, it's a very big change. It's a very broad stroke change. Like, it doesn't address everything, but it's what they could do in a short order, and I absolutely love it. It was a bold move. It was a big move. I'm sure some PvP players didn't like it, but it was the right move. Do a big sweeping change. So that has happened. There have also been problems with the game. So one of the things is that they have these maps already generated, but they only planned on some of the areas being PvE, right? That first row. Well, now it's half the desert, but there are control points that are also placed down for the PvP that you want to grab stuff. And some of those control points are now in PvE areas, but those control points automatically turn a PvE area into a PvP area. This was a problem. Some people's bases got raided. They could get destroyed. Very frustrating. People were very upset. Totally understandable. A lot of the people that lost a lot of stuff are the people that did rush to the end game and already had a ton of stuff and were basically, deboing people, for those who are familiar with Friday, deboing people, like that's my bike, Craig, out of all of the resources. And the only way you could get them was going into the PvP area. This creates a huge problem where there is not enough spice is the main resource because you just couldn't get enough in the other areas. You need a lot, but you need spice to get to the top tier items. So, but you got to fight people that already have it to get those items and that are also already organized because they sprinted out there and they knew what they were doing. So they have better gear, they have a lot more experience, and they they're also more organized than most of the other groups. So they've got these three advantages, and they needed none of those. So it was like nearly impossible for the average player to get into endgame and to get to that tier 6 items without spending a ridiculous amount of hours. And some people did do that. And then once you get there, you're fine. But that's a huge thing. Or you find the right group and they let you in and whatever. Not a good situation. So we're hoping that they address some changes here in this patch with this problem, because that's the real problem. Okay. And then the other thing is, honestly, people are like, oh, the deep desert's huge. It's mostly empty. And I honestly think the problem is it's not big enough in a lot of situations. I know because what, thank you. Thatcher said, bless you, Lario. Uh, the situation is that I lost my train of thought. The situation though was that, you can't get out there by yourself and get stuff done. And the thing is, you could go in off peak times. You could do this or that, but not everybody can do that. And it's not really a fair playing field. I think the biggest issue is not being able to get tier 6 gear, the top tier gear, without engaging in PvP in a situation that you're already kind of hopelessly outmanned. And I've done PvP, guys. I've done it on stream. I lost. It was very fun. I had a lot of fun in most of the situations. It did get frustrating, and I didn't get anything from most of those situations. We can talk more about that. I see the comments, guys. I'll get to them one second. Man, and there was another thing there that escapes my mind. I'll come back to it. Nuke the problem. Yeah, Terrell, it was a drastic change, honestly, but it was a good one, man. Drastic measures needed to be done. So it actually was a good thing. But I feel you. Yeah, most companies, when they do that, it's not good. I think it was there were caused knock-on problems, but it's all good. Let me see. The heave ho, what's going on? I think first time here. First time I remember seeing your name. Welcome in. That really did end up being the case. Sure, people with prior knowledge, that's play tests, had an advantage, but for the most part, a lot of people hit the DD at the same-ish time. So you're saying it didn't end up being the case, that it was like level or whatever? Because so there's a couple problems with that. One is people will continue to join, which they have. And then there's also a lot of people that have not hit the deep desert yet. There are. The average I know it's not me because I have like 300 hours in since launch, but for a lot of people, they can only play a couple hours a week, man. So those people are eventually going to get there, and hopefully all this stuff will be resolved by then. But I do think it's a problem. And even though we also had an issue where we switched servers because we ended up being on one that someone encouraged us to be on, and the ping was bad for everybody. So we moved one that had better ping literally for everybody that wanted to join. And so now we're also starting behind. There should be a way to catch up. And when you get there, you shouldn't be faced with opponents with better equipment, with more experience, and with, more organized. Again, I just think that that's too much. You're already at an advantage by not having the experience, which in most PvP games is the biggest issue. Is the experience thing. So then them also having better gear on top of that. I know that the people that love to kill noobs think that's great, but it's not good for the game, and it's not good for everybody more generally. But I don't know. You follow up with that if you got thoughts. Hey Dexter, good to see you, man. Doing well here if you're asking me. So all right, following the page will list patch notes 1.1.10.0 and subsequent releases. Some of the patches below will take effect the moment they are deployed, while others may require downtime. Please keep an eye out for game service messages. Remember to restart your client. Cool. All right. And I will also say there are also login issues that have happened and all kinds of other stuff. Yeah, man, it's great, dude. Just living the good life. Living the good life. I appreciate you asking. Technical fixes and stability. So fixed an issue where ornithopter inventory could get visually emptied if a player traveled to the deep desert. There actually has been some issues with inventory literally going missing. Loaded the inventory, left the game, loaded back in the deep desert. Okay, fixed an issue where sometimes players weren't able to travel from Arakeen to Harkov Village in the overland map. So there's a lot of bug fixes. Highlights. Sandworms will now linger for a bit around spice fields that have been recently harvested from. I think this is really cool and a really good change. For the people using really big um, carriers and stuff in the deep desert for the large spice fields, this has been a problem. I made some people mad. I caused their operation to take 15 more minutes because I landed on their spice field, even though they told me not to. They killed me for it, but I was YOLOing it, I think it's been cool. I've also noticed today, even this morning, that sandworms are a lot more aggro, and I think it's good. I think it was too easy and it wasn't scary enough, and I like where it's at. Oh no. Uh, all my golden loot disappeared. Oh, not from getting eaten by a worm, just from like everything. Your gear disappeared, Nani. No, Nani, we can hook you up. Just let me know. Everything you need, we have. We can hook you up. That sucks though. Main menu play now button has been set to filter out private servers. Cool. Reduce the frequency of Harkonnen attacks on certain Atreides bases and vice versa in Haga Basin. When streamer mode is active, they've improved that. Cool. In the exchange, items will now be listed from and claimed to the vehicle inventory of your ornithopter. That's a really nice quality of life improvement because sometimes you want to sell more stuff that you can carry on your person. Yep, it all vanished. Even when I would loot a chest, it would disappear. Oh my guys. Oh my god. Nani, that's horrible. Has it been fixed? Dexter says, you guys have a server. Dexter, we don't have a private server. We're on a public one. And it's listed in the Discord. Yeah, if you want to join us. Yeah, if you go through all the stuff in the Discord, you can find out there. Logging out fixed it. It was just invisible for a bit. Okay. I have had that where stuff has disappeared, and I did notice that it would reappear, so I didn't stress it, honestly. Cool. That's a nice quality of life, though, with the exchange. Improve interaction with vehicles. Should now be easier to enter from different angles. That's nice. I've also noticed, and I don't know if they have this in the notes, that there's been certain like glitching with climbing and trying to get in and out of areas, and it's kind of not great. As on YouTube. Yeah, you can find the server, or I'm sorry, you can find the Discord on YouTube. And then we have if you're looking for Dune Awakening specifically, Dexter, there's a channel, and it should prompt you, and you can self-assign roles to be able to see that channel, man. Am I understanding what you're asking right? Sorry if I'm not. But on my homepage on YouTube, there'll be a link to the Discord there. And then everything should get you there. So I've actually been noticing more glitching, my character freaking out, getting stuck than historical. So I think they're trying to fix some things, but they might be breaking it along the way. I'm just glad they're fixing it. It's annoying. I hope it gets fixed, but it's okay for right now. The other thing, guys, is like as long as they're I just want to make sure that they keep working on the issues that they have, because the core gameplay is 10 out of 10. It's incredibly fun, and it's an MMO. And the combat is really cool. The combat is actually incredibly dope. People have been hating on the combat. They keep making changes. It was already in a good spot. A lot of creators, they gave them early access. So these guys had weeks and weeks to decide their opinion and make something, and they did. And then the game came out and it was different, but they had already made all that content, so they just released it. And so they're complaining about things that were already fixed when the game went live. And it sucks. They get an advantage, and then they also are giving out bad info about the game, but they got clicks. I don't know. It's upsetting as a YouTuber, but it's a problem. It makes my life more difficult. But the combat has been great since launch, and it's only gotten better. It is difficult. It is nuanced, and I think that's really cool. So maybe they could help with explaining stuff better or whatever. If only there was somebody, some YouTuber who specialized in making complicated in-game things really accessible to new players. If only there was such a person. So I'm very excited to get to make that kind of content because it's friggin' awesome in in-game. Absolutely nuts. Oh, unfortunately, you don't have Discord. Okay. Um, yeah, I don't know if we have a link any other way. We're on the Anvil, Dexter. We're on the Anvil. Um, is the world we're in, and then the exact siege is I'd have to look. Rommel? I think we're on Rommel in the Anvil. I am spending so much time in this game. It's so good. Yeah, yeah. There you go. First hand experience from Nani. It's pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. So I am frustrated on other people's behalf by some of these problems because they've been pretty huge, especially your base is getting blown up and raided and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah, it's yeah, we'll have to see. And I say that's where the guild is on, Dexter. I will often probably be doing some PvP stuff on different servers so that I can do it on stream and people don't know where I'm at and can't just come harass everybody. So just as an FYI too. I'm on quite a few and I will continue. I need to level up so I can do some guides anyways on different, like level up again and again so I can do some guides. But we closed several vulnerabilities that could lead to increased damage output. Good. That's good. Fixing exploit. There's a lot of exploit. There's duping going on, which is unfortunate. Happens in just about every game, but it's really unfortunate in Dune because that's again the thing that people can cheat and get such a good advantage. And those are also the cheaters are also the kind of people that will do really kind of shitty things to people because they don't care about other people, their enjoyment of the game, right? So they're the ones that will camp the spawns, or camp the points because the problem, one of the big, yeah, Rommel, okay, one of the big problems with Dune is that the deep desert is big, but there's only so many points of interest that are actually worthwhile. So that's they changed a lot of stuff. So we'll talk about it. Fix an exploit where you could repair all items to full durability. Okay. Fix an exploit where a player could duplicate resources. Fix an edge case issue allowing vehicles to pass through pentashields unauthorized. That's not good. Features and changes. Technical stability. Okay, cool. We don't need to read through all the stability changes, I don't think. There's some quality of life stuff. Main menu, play now button has been set to filter out private servers after dying due to Coriolis storms while offline. Players now get moved to Haga Basin so they can respawn. Menu shows all respawns in Haga Basin. It's nice, quality of life. Trade post checkpoints can now be used as a respawn point while in different maps. Also, nice quality of life. Updated the minimum required version Intel GPU. That's just for those few people using ARC GPUs. Remove false positive warnings about minimum hardware specs and driver version for GeForce Now users. Resources, building, and crafting. Move the Atreides decorations away from Asmira Effendi, Harko Village weapons vendor, and onto or Munda Locks, Harko Village structure vendor. Oh, okay. Okay. Are these like purchasable decorations where it's like a one-use item? Does anybody know? Anybody know if this is the purchasable like one-use items or if this is so that the person who gives you the stuff that you can build and craft yourself is different than the person that sells you one-use items? If so, that makes sense and it's cool. I'm just trying to understand. Loot containers dropped after picking up NPC corpses are now visible if they're empty for the players who picked up the corpse. Okay. Added 3 unique weapon schematics as to Asmera Effendi. Cool. I think I've seen those. Vehicle backup tool and Slido replicator can now be crafted in the survival fabricator. Just a quality of life thing. The vehicle backup tool can now be found in the utility tools category, and the Slido replicator found in the building tools category. Quality of life, great. Armor in the main menu will now use the correct armor swatches applied to your character in game. Okay, there's customization on what your character looks like. That should work correctly. Good. Range info added to the welding torch info card. Remove the Hawkeye scanner module MK5 unique schematic from Lanzarad rewards due to it being an old item not intended for use. Okay. Combat. Visual improvements to buff and debuff icons for legibility. Yeah, and I also will tell you, Dexter is like, you should come by the Discord, man. That's where we do all of our organized stuff in, by the way. So might consider getting it, man. That's what we use, the tool we use for everybody. because you can't always talk in game. But if you just want to hang out and chat some, then it's not a big deal. But usually we hang out and chat in Discord. So just as an FYI. Visual improvements to buff and debuff icons for legibility. Like it. Change the Sentinel ability's action text from detonate to deploy. Cool, just a small quality of life thing or kind of bug. Added range information to Weirding Steps info card. Oh, okay. That's great. Added duration information to Suspensor Pad's info card. They actually changed Weirding Step 2 where it no longer stuns. Probably a necessary nerf. It does feel like a big one. I don't use that skill anymore because I don't really find it super useful, but it could still be useful. I need to play with it some more. It could be more PvP focused, which is where it needed a nerf from. Anyways, so added duration information to Suspensor's pad info card. Okay. I wish suspensor belts lasted longer. I chew through them like they're candy, and I'd have to bring a backup with me. New VFX created to indicate the way sword pairing staggers multiple targets. I love this. Love that change. Combat is, they need to keep tweaking it. Man, it's pretty damn fun, guys. It's pretty fun. It's not skill based enough, I don't feel like right now, or the learning curve is too steep, but gear matters too much. They said they wanted like a third gear, a third experience, and a third something else. Right now, your skill, either it's a real sharp curve, so it's like, nothing, then a huge improvement, or it doesn't matter that much. I do feel like it is skill based. Absolutely, it is skill based, but the curve is weird on it because a lot of us went out and we tried to PvP with all the similar gear and we couldn't kill anybody. It was really hard for us to kill anybody if we weren't 2-on-1. So that didn't make sense. I killed a few people and then they learned how to get out of stuff, and then it was like we couldn't kill each other. Now I've learned more since then and hopefully gotten better at that kind of combat because I have had people that can consistently just beat me, but they also have better gear, and it's a big deal. I think the gear matters a lot. So I think the gear might matter too much. Updated dagger slow beta animations to make the stab connect better. I can't wait to get to do guides on that kind of stuff too, guys. We're getting there. I just got to get hours in the game so that I can give good advice. Correct VFX should now be played on receiving side if shield or otherwise damage immune. Okay. Underslung weapons can no longer be used while in a passenger seat of a vehicle. Oh, that's sad. New VFX created to indicate the way sword pairing staggers multiple targets. Dude, leaning out of a vehicle, maybe it's the Helldivers in me, and firing a weapon is just so fun. Just so fun. But new VFX created to indicate the way sword pairing staggers multiple targets. Again, like that. We closed several vulnerabilities that could lead to increased combat damage. Okay. I think there's also a problem with some of the passives. Like there's a I believe a passive ability, or maybe it's a weapon maybe it's a weapon ability that is supposed to cause damage even through a shield, and it's not. And someone only found that out when we were just kind of having fun and talking about stuff, and that came up because they're like, oh yeah, it still does damage to you, which is cool. And I was like, do it again, and I was like, yeah, it's not actually doing damage past my shield. So abilities. Suspension Dash now costs 20% of your maximum power instead of a flat cost of 75. This allows the perk to be more usable across all tiers of power packs while also making it more costly in higher pressure combat situations. I mean, don't nerf the suspensor belt. It's so damn fun. It's really fun. It's fine, but it's so fun. So that's kind of a bummer. So it'll be better at the low end, which is good, but it's also sounds like it's going to be worse on the high end, which is also kind of a bummer. Reduce poise damage resistance of Thrive on Danger to 34% from 50% to avoid scenarios where poise resistance could go over 100% when combined with other effects. Okay. It is no longer possible to jump while under the effects of Crippling Strike. Crippling Strike might be one of my go-to skills for PvP. Keeping people from running away is one of the hardest problems for a melee character. I need to start using it and lean into it. And if you try to dodge out of it, it takes like all your stamina. It's pretty cool. I think there's also some interplays in the PvP as far as combat that a lot of people probably don't even understand yet, to be totally honest with you, because they're hard to tell. So might be worth a video. I've seen some people that put out some videos, and some of it I don't think is bad information. Some of it I have seen people put out videos that they omit things that I think they're not aware of, and it gives people the wrong impression. So, but I want to make sure I can give a lot of good info before I get to that point to making those kind of videos, guys. So trust me, I'm playing as much as I can, as much as I want to as well, but we'll get there eventually. Updated description of center of mass and marksmanship techniques to indicate the body damage also affects damage dealt to shields. Okay. You know what I'd really love is, well, you know what? Some markers and stuff like that. Maybe I need to practice more, but I have problems telling when I'm getting headshots in certain situations. New in, there is an Australian server, man. One of the coolest things about Dune Awakening is that there are a ton of different servers, and they're all local to different places. So you can actually get good ping. The creative director is an Aussie, and so I don't know where he lives now, but I know that that's one of the things that he was concerned about. Is like they want there to be good PvP, and to get good PvP, you need low ping. So there are servers all over the place, man. All over the place. There is one local to you: South America, North America, Europe, Asia, Oceania. I don't know if there's any in Africa. I'm not really sure what's going on there. But there's a lot of places, probably the Middle East. I don't know. There's a lot of server locations so that you can pick one that is not too far from you. Pretty cool. Pretty sweet. And, yeah, I don't know. I'll come join some people on a Aussie server and just to play with some of my Aussie friends sometimes if people get on a server. I think I put one in the Discord for as an Aussie server where I started to level up a character, but I don't think I got very far, so it kind of doesn't matter. But updated description of the center map. Okay, we already covered that. Yeah, performing melee. It's cool that it tells you that it actually affects shields now. This is a good change. Performing melee attacks with gravity fields will now cause players to play exhausted attack animations as they strain under the increased gravity. Okay. Updated description of the range combat passive ability. It increased damage with all ranged weapons, not just darts. Okay. That's really cool. I have been enjoying melee combat, and I kind of like the play style. I want to fly through the air and 1vx with a rocket launcher, and that makes me want to go more Mentat with the ranged focus stuff personally, because I think it's cool. I just want that play style. I just want to be able to do that. Clarified description of poison teeth activation to better convey how it works. Okay. Vehicles. Tweak the buggy turret camera to improve overall visibility while operating. Excellent. It's not really visibility that's the problem so much as you need to be able to actually hit items. Sometimes it's a little bit janky. Hopefully that has been improved. Minor tweaks to camera when boosting with a vehicle. Improve interaction with vehicles. It should now be easier to enter them from different angles. Ground vehicles now have a failsafe system against being stuck in flipped state. Cool. Improve ground vehicles' behavior when flipped or kicked by the sandworm. Okay. Scout ornithopter thruster modules have seen an increase in speed when using vulture mode. Okay. Players opting to forego inventory or other modules in favor of boost thruster should now have a speed advantage. I have experienced this and been playing around with it. It's absolutely amazing. When you have thrusters, you do feel more maneuverable. It's significant, and I absolutely love it. Balancing, updated anti-gravity fields to allow for stationary targets to get out of them rather than be locked into their initial zero velocity. That's a good change. Needed to happen. This is just an ability. There's a lot of really cool abilities, and you can only run 3 at a time. And it's a question of what abilities do you want to run, and you do want to swap them out. The 3 abilities keeps it easy, keeps it simple, also makes it good for console players. Being able to add in the complication from what skills you're going to choose, right? In certain situations, if I'm running around, I want 3 mobility skills, right? If I'm 1vxing and they're in copters and I'm on the ground, I would probably want 3 mobility skills. If I'm in a dungeon or in a group setting, I probably want at least 1 CC or kind of stun ability. that make sense, and then so on, like AoE ability, like these gravitational fields and other things. Rusher NPCs now animation cancel out of their melee attack finishes when their target moves out of melee range. Okay, that's good. World building and exploration. Sandworms now linger for a bit around spice fields that have been recently harvested from. I do like this change. I'm sure people will be mad because it makes it harder, but I think it's a good change overall. Man, you're a good salesman. I'm getting interested in this game. Dude, it's just good. It's just good. It's really fun. There's issues. There's bugs. Don't get me wrong. Nani talking about her inventory going missing. Some of them that are like really big, right? But overall, it's an incredibly fun game. I've been addicted. That's how good it is. Sandworms now linger. Okay, yeah. Reduce the frequency of Arcana attacks. We already talked about that. Improve collision in the room with the Proteus where you encounter your first shielded enemy. Okay, that's just a tutorial thing. Miscellaneous journey steps improvements. Replaced an incorrect product kinds hologram in the Odom testing station. Okay. The salvageable buggy in Imperial testing station number 10 has been replaced with a broken buggy. Why? Can you not drive it out of there? Wait, what does this mean? I don't know what broken versus, is that mean broken? I'm taking to mean like you can't do anything with it, which would make sense because if it's salvageable, like you can't go anywhere and then it's never going to get destroyed. I'm unclear. If they mean broken, like you can fix that thing and take it apart, that's a buff. I'm not really sure. Lyriel says, at least you're honest with yourself about your addiction to this game now. Shut up, Lyriel. Yeah, I can stop whenever I want. I just don't want to. Respawn beacons are now removed upon account or player deletion. Okay. There do be a hilarious number of respawn beacons some places. Story, journey, and new player experience. Improved journey auto tracking to address edge cases where journey system sometimes did not track the next appropriate journey card. Journey step completion contract. The war profiteer will not complete the journey. The journey system is their questing system. I don't love it, guys. It's a little bit frustrating. It looks pretty, but it doesn't provide information in a good way, and I wish they would change it. It's not my favorite. Yeah. I do, and I've also had problems with a few quests bugging, and I've also had a problem with thinking a quest was bugged when it wasn't, and if the game could do more. One of the cool things and the things you need to keep in mind is when you go into an area and there's a quest item, it's not obvious. There's no quest marker, which makes it fun. I love the UI, how minimalistic it is, but that also creates challenges. I've also had situations where there was a quest item or a quest thing that I was supposed to interact with that wasn't showing up as interactable. And when the game doesn't have a quest marker over it that tells you this is the item, you don't know it's bugged. And so that was pretty frustrating. And I had to look up to find somebody somewhere who had done it, and that was kind of annoying. Didn't love it. So I don't know. I like the idea, but the problem is when it fails, it can be really frustrating when it fails. There are also certain quest areas that if one person is doing it already, it will not work for you, and you will be in the right area and you will have no idea. And the whole reason is because somebody else is already there. This was a bigger problem right at launch for a lot of people that got to the same spot at the same time. But it still can be a problem, and you don't know if the quest is bugged or if it's some other issue. It's kind of frustrating. I don't know what they can do about it, but I wish they would do something. UI, man. Jeez, they got a lot of UI things. Added individual keybind to take quick loot, exit climb, such as crouch and default and exit vehicle. Okay. I love this individual keybind for this because otherwise you'd have to press and hold. I need to play with these. Love it. It's a great change. Updated colors to the pinned recipe display. Okay. Added support for unfavoriting items in the inventory loadouts by pressing the T key. Hey, thank God. This is really annoying with housing. Another thing about this game, guys, is I enjoy the housing. I enjoy building this stuff. I think it's incredibly fun. And I don't normally do housing in ESO and other games I play, so that speaks really well of the game. I get criticized for my builds, but I'm having fun. Updated icons for a Mala vest variant. Okay. Updated the colors used for online status. Updated the icon for the Slaver still suit. Another issue that with UI is like getting invites, you can miss them, and then you have no idea that you have one. The number of times people have been like, "Hey man, can I get a guild invite?" And they're asking me 4 days after they asked, and I already sent them one. I'm like, "You got one? It's pending," and they just don't know is like kind of a problem. The compass shows a consistent colored line representing which zone the player is in. Okay. Navigation icons from the crafting, journey, and customization menus are animated when switching between them. Oh, another issue with a UI that's a bug is that when you're in a group, you're supposed to have a little icon and it goes away. And so sometimes you have it, sometimes you don't, and that's kind of frustrating. Well, in the expanded building UI with an active tutorial pop-up, press escape now correctly close to the tutorial pop-up instead of collapsing the building UI. While in streamer mode, map creator name is hidden if the player created the sync chart. While in streamer mode, sector name in the deep desert is now hidden. Okay. Added an additional step to the delete character progress to make sure deletion is intentional. Excellent. In the trade UI, we're changing something on the offered items inventory of the Solari's offered. Both players now set as not ready. Oh God, that's not good that wasn't set like that already. That's a problem. Updated the Sufif console icon in the building menu. Okay. Updated the party UI and players menu to show accurate amount of slots available in a party. In the exchange, items can now be listed from and claimed to the vehicle inventory of your ornithopter. Another that we talked about that earlier. Improve the text of the dialogue message you get when choosing to visit a friend on another server. Okay. Graphics, animation, and VFX. Added updates. Another batch of animations to various cinematics, NPC lip sync during dialogues, and claw simulation for various outfits. All right, sure. I mean, have not the majority of people already made it through all that stuff? Optimization improvements on lighting for Wreck of the Hephaestus. Reform pass on VFX assets in the Wreck of Hephaestus cinematics. Okay. New surface hits from LMGs to improve visuals. Okay. Update unique surface hits, VFX for Disruptor and the Power LMG to improve visuals. Adjusted brightness of staking unit VFX to make it more grounded. Soften the lighting transition in an Imperial testing station in the deep desert. All right. Audio, the sound effects indicated an effective blood purifier has been improved. Rebalancing audio levels on sandstorms to make audio experience better. I've experienced bugs with some of this stuff, so I think they're fixing stuff, but they're also breaking stuff as they go along. It's fine as long as they keep fixing it until it's all fixed. Made improvements to melee audio. That's really cool. Minor audio polish tweaks. Okay, added new sounds for Spice Bloom Geysers. The headphone mix preset and weapon tails in enclosed spaces are increased to be louder. Okay. The volume of the Ornithopter engine start and engine loop have been lowered. Voiceover of House Vernius, representative at Helios Gate has been added. Replace placeholder radio should sound effect with an actual radio show. Okay. Yeah, there's an actual in-game radio too that I don't think a lot of people know about, which is kind of cool. Fixes, technical instability. Text chat notification indicating when a player is muted has been localized. Fix issue that would cause the server to become unresponsive to logins. Fix multiple issues in deep desert that cause server crashes. Address cases where players moving across servers would result in a soft locked client. When the player has no other subfeast on the map and builds one, it will set as default respawn location on the map. That's nice. The message to make the vehicle, this should actually be the most recent one you've made, probably, is what it should do. Or at least pop up and ask you if you want that. The message to make the vehicle you drive pilot to default vehicle spawn location will no longer show when crossing borders in the deep desert. Respawn menu now appears after the character dies while the game is disconnected. Death location marker now appears after the character dies while the player is offline. Fixed an issue that caused the player... Oh, did this not happen? Wow. Okay, that's actually pretty huge. Sorry, it took me a second to process that. Fixed an issue that caused the player to sometimes enter loading screens. When are we getting to the good stuff? I feel like this is all like boring stuff. Come on, let's go. Fix an issue that causes players to sometimes enter loading screens. Okay, fixed a bunch of issues. Let's see. I know that they changed some stuff that was massive and really important, and they buried the lead. Okay, loot bags dropped on placeable should now fall, no longer fall inside of them. Fixed an issue. Oh my god, just fixed issues. Fixed issues. Was it in a previous patch that they talked about some of this stuff? Oh my god. Guys, why'd you bury the lead on me? Melee attacks can no longer critically hit targets. Oh, interesting. Huh. Let me see. Let me see, guys. We're just gonna look. Did we get? Oh my god, there's so much, and then most of it's like fixes. I guess that they're just like in a rush, so they're just like we're just gonna list literally everything. This could be organized a little bit better. Let me see. Is it in a previous patch? So one of the things I know they changed is that they have made it where okay, a couple of big things is like they made it where medium sized blooms, spice blows, which is the biggest thing for in game players to have an issue with to be able to get to that highest tier. They've made it to where they happen in the PvE areas of the deep desert. So there's three kinds of blooms. There's small ones, which happen to hog a basin, and in the deep desert. Grab them, sure. Not that big a deal, though. Not, it's enough to get you started, not enough to do anything else. There's medium-sized ones, which are what really needs to be accessible, and there's the large ones. The large ones are like fought over. That's when you're going out there with carriers, and you've got a whole team and whatever. And then other people can come once that's happened and like get the scraps or whatever, but that's how the big guilds are getting a lot of stuff. Um, I'm fine with that staying PvP. That makes sense. But the medium sized ones spawning in the PvE areas is absolutely huge. Another thing, I told you that there's like only so many points in the deep desert that and that's an issue because you can just hang out around those areas and it not be that big of a deal. Like it doesn't matter how big the desert is if there's only 6 points of interest that are worth going to, you're just going to camp those 6 points of interest. Again, this prevented people from getting to that top tier and getting the best gear in the game. Well, they changed it now to where the loot tables, it used to be that las guns would drop or like only a couple of items would drop from this one dungeon in the PvP area. And that's a big deal. Las guns or rocket launchers, whatever it happened to be, these unique schematics. And so people would just camp those. And those were the most important things. And they were in the hardest to get areas. Well, now there's RNG where the loot tables have been opened up. And now when you see a down ship, which is something a solo player can do, they always had certain schematics in there and it would kind of be the same ones. Now it could be anything. So now you can get the las gun from that down ship and from digging up buried like Fremen treasure, which is another thing you can do for exploration in the deep desert. That is really cool because now it's a situation where a solo player can get those things and it makes even a PvP player. You might grab those things and it could create 1v1 battles where it's not everybody's there, but two people happen to be there and you could fight. Overall, I think these are great changes. I think there's still a lot of tweaks, a lot of expansion. I don't think there's enough points of interest in the deep desert, and you might want to make it bigger because of that. I don't know if that's possible, but it's a thing. You still want to make sure that there's going to be conflict, but during peak times when most people can play, it does become a problem. And camping of those spawn points or those points of interest rather is absolutely a thing. I've heard somebody I really like all of their content be like, this isn't a thing. It's just because they haven't experienced it. Absolutely is a thing. And depending on what server you're on, because on some servers it's really bad. On the one that I'm on currently, it's not that bad. So yeah. Anyways, a lot of notes there, guys. Anybody have any thoughts on anything? Anything that's been bugging them? I know there's some people that have tuned in that are strictly Dune Awakening players. Anything you'd like to see? I don't know where those are in here. I mean, I guess I could do a little Control F and like search for spice highlights. Hey, there we go. I mean, that's just that's not that's stuff we already know. Yeah, they linger. Hey, there we go. No, that's an audio thing. That's not what I'm looking for. Is it even in here? Is it even in here? Finally, some good patch notes. Yeah, Vatcher, a little palette cleanser on the patch notes, huh? Yeah, I don't even know if it's in here, man. Do I have the wrong patch notes? Yeah, I don't see. It's the same stuff. Well, we'll come back if so. Let me see. Let me see if we can. Is there a way we can easily go back? The game. How about Dune Awakening patch notes? We'll just search. See if this comes up with all of. Oh, there is. I'm an idiot. I don't want it from there though. I was 10. We're on 15. Oh my God, that's the problem. I'm so sorry, guys. I'm trolling everybody. I wanted to go back some, but let's see what we got. All right. We'll go over. So let me see. Do we have anything here? Not saying anything super. Tier 6 resources can now be collected across wider areas of the PvE part of the deep desert. We had an element of randomization. I wanted to go over the 1. Like the 1.1.10, but I also wanted to cover this, so my bad. Add an element of randomization to the respawn timer of unique loot containers in the deep desert. So that was another thing that was happening is the timers would be on a 40-minute timer, and people would log out, buy it, and camp it, and then log back in. And sure, in the PvP area, it takes you 10 minutes to log out, but if it takes people longer than 10 minutes to go through the dungeon, if you've finished the dungeon and you know nobody else is in there, which you can scan for them, you could just log out, log back in, and grab it. So that keeps people from camping. I think that's a good thing. Plus, I don't think it solves the problem, but it's fine. Plastinium tier crafting components are now split up to drop based on the content location, Imperial testing station, caves, and shipwrecks, with each of them dropping their own selection of components. Yeah, before there was absolutely no reason to do caves. So it's really weird that that it was like that, because it's not like that in the PvE area. So I think that's cool. Fallen shipwrecks and buried treasures can now drop components from any location. Okay, I love that. I love these changes. These are great. Added a chance of a different selection of unique drops for PvE loot in the deep desert. The spawn rate, that's really cool. Yeah, that we needed this. We needed this so that we can all get everything. Because again, it's that arms race where they have more experience but also better gear, and it's just not fair. The spawn rate of medium fields increased from 5 back to 8, and the smallest 5 fields increased from 22 to 30. Okay, cool. The delay for leaving PvP security zone increased from 5 to 30 seconds to prevent border camping and allow PvP players to protect their area. I do like this. Do like that. You don't want people doing that. I love that these spawn rates too are much better. We needed that. It's too hard to get spice right now. I know it's the people that got there first who have the better stuff. They could just keep everybody else from getting it. And that's basically what would happen. And it has been happening, is that people, once they get that tier 6 stuff, they just stop anybody else from ever getting it. And so then they never have to fight a fair fight because they always have better gear, which, sucks, of course. Change land rat's task to allow for kill and delivery contribution to happen after the task has been completed, but awarding only personal contribution. That's also really cool. Improve game stability. I mean, these are the things that I really wanted to talk about, and I'm a dork. I could have just popped right to them. I was like, where's the good stuff? But it's all right here. These are largely these are all addressing the main problems the game actually has. There are a couple of problems that aren't addressed here that I don't think they can fix in short term. Like I mentioned, it still seems like there's not enough points of interest. We'll get more points of interest and more things to do as the game goes along. So I am hopeful for that. And I also don't think any of this solves all of the problems, but it is a huge step in the right direction. All right, guys. As Vatcher said, I'm glad we finally got some good patch notes switching over from ESO. I think the question now is, are we going to hell dive? We've been going for a while. Let me see if anybody is around. I don't think most of the group is around, so I'm honestly we've been streaming for like 4 hours here, and these patch notes are a lot. Vatcher says I'm loaded up. All right, we're hell diving, guys. We're loading into hell divers. We're gonna call this here. We'll pull up hell divers and we'll get started. Oh man, but we could play Dune. All right, guys, I'm gonna end this stream. Kick you guys over. Can always do it. Nah, it's cool, man. We'll do a quick. I'll do a mission. Do a minute. I put the stream up. Just been going for a while. It's a lot of talking. A lot of talking. It'll be a little bit more chill. I try to do. I just accidentally hit the add button. I'm so sorry. Add button popped up for a bunch of people on YouTube. I'll give them a second. I try, generally speaking, to provide as high as like I try to keep my stream shorter and provide more high quality, not just really long, because I don't think I could be that entertaining and that engaging over long periods of time. I don't think anybody can. I don't know. I think you get better at it, but it's like still, I think at some point there's only so much you can do. So much energy you can bring to the table for 8 hours of gaming. So, I try to keep them shorter so that hopefully they're more entertaining, but that's at least my goal. All right, let's got that going on Twitch. YouTube, let me end this stream and kick you guys to the new one, and we'll be right back. All right. Oh, that's not right. Yeah, add the redirect here. Oh, you know what? I didn't. I didn't actually put up a thing on YouTube. Apparently, I need to make one. Let me do that real quick.
Prove to yourself that you have the strength and the courage to be free. Join the Helldivers. Become part of an elite peacekeeping force. See exotic new life forms. And spread managed democracy throughout the galaxy.
So good. So good.
Become a legend.
Become a Helldiver. Hey, there we go. Yep. All right, guys. I'm going to end this stream on YouTube, kick you over to the new one, and we'll see you there, guys. For those dipping out, we'll catch you guys soon. Thanks, everybody. All right, we'll be right back.